Happy Mola Monday, everybody, and welcome to this week's Hall of Trials video. This week we will be fighting Kayron, and the conditions are a little bit different than in past videos, so we had to work hard to come up with a team that would work for this. This time you can't use warriors, they've completely been nerfed out of the fight, and you need to have a heal block debuff on Kayron to inflict extra damage, and if you have knights anywhere on the team, you get bonus damage to everybody on the team. And for what it's worth, you can't put a slow debuff on Kayron. So this is the team that I settled on, and big thanks to my buddy Rezneski for recommending Alexa in this. First of all, for Charlotte, if you don't have Summer Charlotte, you can use Fire Charlotte. Team will still work. In fact, Fire Charlotte has heal block on her skill, so it may make it easier. Alexa, I tried several units. I tried Spectre Tenebria, I tried Closer Charles, I tried Commander Pavel. None of them did the damage that Alexa's doing. Kitty Clarissa you could replace with Camilla, but you would need to take Fire Charlotte as your source of heal block. Singelica, unfortunately, I just can't think of a replacement for her. Kitty Clarissa needs to be the fastest unit on the team, and she needs to be fast enough to lap Alexa. At 274 speed, mine barely laps a 235 Alexa. Now if you slow Alexa down to, like, say 230 speed, you can profoundly lower Kitty's speed requirement, but that's the hardest part, is speed tuning so that Kitty cuts. I used the S1 EE on her just to do a little bit of extra healing for Alexa, and I stuck Warhorn on there just for the extra damage. You can use a variety of other artifacts. Now if you don't use Alexa, you'll probably need to put Cradle of Life on Kitty for the extra debuffs to protect your heal block. I'll explain that a little bit during the fight, but you do need extra sources of debuffs to protect that heal block. Sinful Angelica just needs to be slower than Kitty. Now, mine is close enough that speed RNG sometimes she cuts. If she goes first, you just have to restart the fight. All that matters is she goes right after Kitty Clarissa. How fast she is doesn't matter that much. And I gave her the Doctor's Bag artifact to give a little bit of extra healing. Now, Summer Break Charlotte. Build Fire Charlotte the exact same way. Just stack a rage set on her, give her as much damage as possible, and stick a DPS artifact on her, like the Hall of Trials artifact or the Symbol of Unity artifact. If you use Fire Charlotte, you have 2 extra sources of heal block. It makes the run a little bit more stable, but the extra attacks from Summer Break Charlotte really ramp up the damage, and also she's a source of defense breaks, which the Fire Charlotte team doesn't have. And that will make the transition phases easier. Now, Summer Disciple Alexa. What a beast she is. Gave her my best rage set. This is the one right off of my strays. Gave her Cruel Mischief so she could do top damage. You can put her on a pen set. It won't help you with damage during the break phase, but it will help you a little bit in the transition phase. I elected to not do it. I wanted to maximize my damage in the break phase. Now, how this team works is a little bit of RNG at the start, but the start's fast, so you don't mind the RNG so much because you can just keep restarting rather quickly until you get it the way you want it. At the start of the fight, Kitty Clarissa must go first. After Kayron slaps you, of course. Now, as you can see, Kitty Clarissa is pretty darn close to Sinful Angelica. Only 1 or 2% away from her on the CR bar, so make sure she goes first. Use your S2, and the heal block has to apply. If the heal block doesn't apply, restart. If Singelica cuts, restart. Singelica uses her S3. This puts a speed buff and an attack buff on everybody, and Kitty has to cut Alexa there. And as you can see, it's very close. In fact, I have to restart 2 or 3 times to make sure Kitty went first. Kitty S1s, that takes Kayron near death, and here is why you need Kitty to go first. You need that heal block to persist into the next phase, and to do that, we're going to bury it underneath 2 poison debuffs from Alexa. The poison debuffs hide the heal buff, so it gets through the transition phase, and now we have heal block in the break phase. All of our units are ready to dual attack, and we can capitalize on maximum damage. This is a hard dynamic to set up, and if you struggle to make it happen, don't fret. Just use Kitty's S2 inside of the break phase. You'll cost yourself maybe 1,000,000 points. You will still clear Dagger Sicar easy. When it's Alexa's turn, you want to use her S3. Her S3 has an attack buff on her, and you need to keep the attack buff on her, or the dual attack units will start dual attacking with Charlotte, which won't do nearly as much damage as dual attacking with Alexa. Now Kitty does not need to transform because when she dual attacks, Charlotte will dual attack with her, so that's a nice dynamic there. Now dual attack here would be nice, but I didn't get one. Alexa's going to dual attack with Charlotte to double dip on the damage, and she gets her extra proc. Now it'd be really nice if we could get a dual attack off of Singelica, but not lucky. But still, 4.9 million. If you're above 3.5 million, you'll clear Dagger Sicar easily. 4.9 is going to blow it out of the water. So I'm going to transform Kitty, but I'm going to sandbag her S2. I want to save the heal block for when the time is right. I'm going to chip away and get rid of these ads because, first of all, if you hit Kayron, it pushes those ads up, and they do damage, and I don't really have a healer. And that dual attack with Charlotte cut right through them. If you're using Fire Charlotte, she will pretty much ignore the anti-crit. Makes her a little bit more effective on this stage, but that defense break on there is part of why I'm clearing this so quickly. So I am ready to push phase, so it is a good time to line up my debuffs. I'm going to go ahead and use my S3 to get the attack buff on everybody, and I'm faced with a bit of a problem here. Kitty Clarissa is going to go next. There is no way to hide the heal block. If I put the heal block on Kayron now, when he transfers into the next phase, he'll wipe it off. He gets to get rid of one debuff every time he transfers phase. So I'm just going to have to push phase and suffer a couple of attacks without the heal block and do as best I can. So this isn't an ideal entrance. Ideally somebody else killed him and then Kitty Clarissa goes and puts the heal block on. So here I am with no debuffs for my rage set, so I'm just going to use the S1. It's a waste to use the S3s for both of these units. She's got 2 turns of attack buff left, so I can afford to use my S1 on Alexa. And if Kitty cuts, okay, Kitty cut, all I need is the heal block to stick, and if the heal block sticks, we should have a very successful run.
Destroying everything.
And RNG was with me, I didn't get 15%ed, so the heal block stuck, and now I can just start pushing the score. Now when you only have 1 left on your attack, you attack buff, you need to use her S3. Not only is a lot of damage, it reestablishes her attack buff so she can continue to be the one that dual attacks. If you got Charlotte's S3 available, you should use it. It does a really good amount of damage.
You don't listen to the Lady of the Swamp. Will you play with me, Meow? Meow, meow.
And this will dual attack with Seaside Charlotte or Summer Break Charlotte or whatever name they gave her.
Your torment excites me.
Okay, so the 3 ads in the front are very dangerous. You need to wipe them out as soon as possible. So I'm going to transform, and I'm going to use my S2 to try to strip the anti-crit off of them.
Clarissa wants to play. Yeah.
Good, I got it off of all of them. That means I'll be able to slice through them pretty quickly. So I'll hit number 3 since number 4 is damaged a little bit. Didn't quite kill, but I've got the dual attack ready on Sharklet. Hopefully this will finish them all off. And they're dead. And of course, okay, maybe he won't crit into ice. What am I thinking? Of course he'll crit into ice, and of course he will kill my high damage unit. This made it trickier. I still am able to push through, I think, without her, but man, of all the units for Kayron to kill, he took out my highest damage unit. Even without the defense break, I'll still use the S3 here because it's a good chunk of damage and it gives a speed buff to everybody on the team. Kitty Clarissa can dual attack. All the dual attacks will be going with Charlotte now.
Can I go home?
I really need a defense break here. Resisted. In the third and final phase, Kayron's resistance is pretty high. My kitty Clarissa, though, has 75 effectiveness, so that should be no problem sticking this heal block as long as I don't get 15%ed. Okay, with the sticking of that heal block, I've pretty much secured the ability to clear this phase. Ooh, I forgot about this. Man, that was close. Kitty can still duel. Do I get a defense break? No. Okay, how about now? Real close. I think this would have been very, very clean if I had had Alexa still on my team and not killed off by Kayron there, but it's still cleared at 10.1 million, so that's an 11.1 million score. You only need 8.5 for Dagger Sicar. This is 2.5 million more than you need to complete Dagger Sicar. First place, I'll take it. So this is a very solid team. You do have options. If you don't have Alexa, you can use Spectre Tenebria. You can probably use Ilyanov. You can definitely use Commander Pavel. If you don't have Summer Charlotte, you can use Fire Charlotte. If you don't have Kitty Clarissa, you can use Fire Charlotte with Camilla. So you do have some options for how to complete this, but I have tried all of them, and Alexa hits hardest by far. So I hope you enjoyed this video and that it helps you get your Dagger Sicar completed. If you have any questions, ask them in the comment section. And as always, if you enjoyed the video series, hit like and maybe consider a subscribe. Have a great one.